We all have opinions and different points of views. Perspective is a particular attitude towards something or a way of regarding something. Join us as we sip and say what's exactly on our minds in a conversation we call Her Perspective.
Welcome back to Her Perspective. This is JFree.
Hi, I'm Marley.
And today's episode, we wanted to talk about why it appears that single mothers raise the daughters and often coddle or date the sons.
Okay, this is going to be, we're going to get into it because this one's going to be a little, Okay, so I'm going to let you go first because I have 3 kids. But I'm going to let JFree go first because she's looking at it from an outside perspective, from someone who doesn't have kids. So what is your perspective of women like me, who's a single mother, and or men who are single fathers, raising girls and or boys, and how they either coddle or, how you said, date them?
All right. So my perspective solely is I often see a lot of single mothers really strict and firm and very intentional when they're raising their daughters. And in that same environment, very almost lenient, almost hands off a little bit with their sons. And quite often it's when the fathers are not present in the homes. So I often wondered, is that because the dad isn't there, that this kind of fills a void a little bit? Or is the mama just trying to be the best friend to the son? I don't know. And even when you have the traditional mother and father and maybe a son and a daughter, typically you got daddy's girl and mama's boy. And I get that. But it seems like there's a little bit too much. There was a movie some while ago, like Jump the Broom or something, and the mom was very in the business and almost felt like she was entitled to know everything and be everything, and he was trying to get married. And that didn't happen in that wedding weekend. That happened through the course of his entire relationship with his mother. She was cooking for him. She was cleaning for him. I know grown women who have grown men children and they say, oh, I bought him underwear. What? Why are you buying him underwear? You're not buying your daughter underwear. Right. You're buying your grown son underwear. And by all means, I don't have any kids yet. And I find that to be awkward that you would want to do so much for this baby. But you don't realize that it could have a long-term negative effect. And then when they become of age to date, we looking at them like, who didn't raise you? Like, why I gotta raise you? Right. You don't know to put your dishes in the sink? My mama did that. You don't know to put your dirty clothes in the wash? My mama did that. Okay, so hold on. So I'm not even mad at you no more. Call her up, please, because this is sad. But yet you raise these women to be fierce and independent strong, go-getters, honest, have integrity. But when the man says, oh, I got a few different chicks and I got a few different babies, it's okay, you just being a boy. No. Right. No. But that's in regard to a woman raising a boy to a man. Not for instance, if there was a single father in the picture, because I would presume that a single dad of a young boy would raise him differently. I think so. And that's why I posed this question. I wanted more insight from everyone, with children, without children, with girls, with boys, everyone. This is just my observation over the years of having so many girlfriends who have either both boy and girl or just a boy, and they dated them. Like they were taking them on dates, and the little boy was in grown-up conversations. The little boy didn't do anything. Didn't have to earn anything. And all of that carried on for so long that by the time these little boys became adults,
That's what they were used to.
That's what they were used to. Right. And they expected that of their partner.
Right.
They expected that same, I don't have to earn that.
Right.
You're supposed to cook for me. You're supposed to clean for me. You're supposed to just love on me because I'm here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's debunk this. So what do you...
I literally, this topic was kind of itchy for me. I was like, I don't know. But I have 3 girls.
Okay.
And to give a little backstory, my mother was a single parent. There was 2 of us, my sister and I. She raised us. My mother was very strict, very stern, very independent, like she's just who she is. So innately, and to go back even further, my grandmother is the same way. So what we were talking about in the previous, the conditioning, it's funny how all of these go hand in hand, but she was raised by that same type of mother who in turn raised us. Okay. That's how my mother raised my sister and I. So with my daughters, I'm raising them in such a way that they don't have to necessarily be, like, I want them to be independent, strong young women, but still cute and pink. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? I want them to say, there's a balance. I know that if I encounter this young man who is a king, that I know I can shift. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't have to always be this. I'm a strong black woman. I'm just, this is me. You don't always got to do that. So there's order in my eyes. There's a place for everybody in every situation. And if I had a son, I thought about this too. If I had a son, I probably would be more tough on him than I am my girls. Yeah. And that's just me though, as a mother and as a woman, because I know the type of man
you want him to be.
Right. And that I would want him to be to someone else's daughter.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to date you. I'm not going to, you're going to do
chores.
Right. You're going to take out the trash. Right. I'm going to teach. My mother taught me and my sister how to change the tire, change the oil. Right. We cut grass. We did all of the boy things, what some people stereotypically think are boy things. Men things. Right. But that's just how my mother raised my sister and I. So I have encountered that in some of my relationships.
Let me write that down. That's a good one.
I have, because men tend to think you don't need them.
Right.
And that's not necessarily true. That's just how I was raised. So I'm comfortable with relinquishing or stepping down from per se, from doing some of those things if I know that you're that man that's gonna.
That you got it.
If you got it, sure, babe. I can be cute and pink, no problem.
But if mama and grandma did everything for you, and by the time you leave the house, you can't change a tire, you can't drive a stick shift, you can't call your own insurance, you're still on mama's insurance, you can't do laundry, you can't make your own meals.
Who are these people? What?
I've dated them all.
What? What?
So, can we take that out? but when all of that happens and you line all of those things up, and they can't do anything for themselves because they're so used to someone taking care of them, aka in my mind, coddling, enabling, all of this, then you don't even get the space as a grown woman in order to be able to relinquish anything. So now I went from having to be a strong little girl to being a strong grown woman, because I can't relinquish anything because you're not even in the space that you think that you need to learn this stuff. You've been conditioned to believe that I'm supposed to just do whatever I need to do to keep you here.
No, that's not okay.
So I think
that's not okay.
It's absolutely not okay. And then you got all these women, and I get it, I'm woman, blah, blah, blah. But like you said, there is an order, in my opinion, too. There is an order. And I would totally be a Michelle for a Barack.
Right.
But how many Baracks are walking around?
Barack?
We got one.
Right.
One.
Right.
Maybe two.
Right.
Okay? Right. Maybe three. Okay? But it's not plentiful.
Right.
And because of that, we don't feel like we can relinquish.
Right.
Because we are so guarded. Because I know if
I don't set in that space of submissiveness, and you know how they say you're supposed to be like, there's a certain level of being submissive that comes with having that partner that you can really trust with everything. That you just say, you know, when they say black women don't want to be submissive, that's not true.
That is not true.
That's not true, because I will
Facts.
Literally, what's cute and pink all day? Because why?
Because you got me.
You got me.
You're going to take care of the kids. You're going to take care of the dinner tonight. You got me. For real, got me.
But in having that, in having a partner like that, it only makes you be a better woman for the family, for the unit, and for that person that you're with.
Absolutely.
So I don't.
But you can't get there
if you have
the dynamic is all thrown off when at young age, little Jamal.
And I agree with that.
Is raised by mama.
Right.
And she's not really raising Jamal.
Right.
You know, she's just taking Jamal everywhere she go.
Right.
And then Jamal becomes the grown up, and now his family dynamic is off.
Right.
Because wifey can't be submissive or relinquish or be free.
Right.
Because Jamal, he don't know what to do.
Right. But that puts a lot of pressure, what you're saying.
On the single mom?
It does. It really does, especially to raise a boy, because the man, that father needs to be in the picture.
That was the only punt of this, is that these men need to step it up.
And that's hard when you have a situation where mom and dad maybe don't get...
Keep going. You just said something. Yes.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we were saying like, the men need to step it up. I think what irks me, living overseas, you know, we lived overseas all these years.
Yeah.
And you see these, let's just be real. Let's be really real and transparent right now. These black men, and they're not present in these black families. But you want to be in Europe and Japan, being father to Kim and or whatever the little names are, over here and all of her babies, but you don't want to be the father to little Jamal and little Tyrone. Now mama might be failing, but mama is just a mama. She can't do it all. So
I think you touched on some toes right there.
I'm just saying,
you stepped on a few toes.
From an outsider looking
You're right, and we've seen it.
Actually, I'm not an outsider. I live this life as well.
Right. You know, did. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we need to go back to the village and help each other raise these children.
Right.
Number one. Number two, help these mamas out, help these single daddies out, because there's a lot of good single fathers out there.
Absolutely.
Big ups to everyone that's trying to stand in the gap for some absent parent.
Absolutely. Especially the ones, and I don't mean to interrupt, especially the ones who weren't raised with their fathers. Absolutely. And I think that is so...
They're trying to break the cycle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It takes an example.
What?
Yeah.
It takes a man to say, I'm going to be the father that I never had. The father...
He chills.
Listen. And they don't get enough support. Or accolades, or facts. They don't. And it's so commendable to say, you know what, I didn't have this, but this is what I want to create for generations moving forward.
But you can flip that same sentiment, and although I agree, and although I want to give them their props, women have been doing that for decades. They didn't see how daddy and mommy and so and they just had to hold it
down, right?
So it goes both ways. I hate when we overemphasize it for dudes, but I know why.
Absolutely.
I know why we do it.
I just had this conversation.
I know why we do it, so I get it. I'm on the movement too. But at the same time, regardless of single mom, single dad, absent parent needs to step up.
Absolutely.
Village needs to step in. Single parents, allow your child to be parented by the village.
Right.
Because what you forget, what you neglect, what you don't have time to do, the village can step in and stand in the gap, you know? And then maybe we won't be coddling these boys, bringing it back, and maybe we can raise both our sons and our daughters.
That's true, because those absences in youth, they grow in adulthood. You carry them into adulthood, and it's sad. It's really sad. So there's some things that I've experienced as a young. I can't even say grow up with my father. He was present, but he wasn't in the household.
Okay.
So I knew my dad. Like, he would come visit, whatever, bring, whatever the case may be. But there was love. There was no bond, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's different when you have that bond versus you have love. My mother
out of obligation or role.
So when I decided to start a family, having the father of my children present every day in their life, going to ballet recitals, being present, go lunch dates, whatever that was very important for me. I didn't want my girls to grow up the way that I did by having the every other weekend or every other summer, or I didn't want that for them because I knew how it affected me long term. Do you know what I'm saying? So even because I'm not with my kid's father now, but even in our separation and divorce, I wanted to make sure that I put myself in a place of, okay, we're not together, but I want to make sure that you have every opportunity to be as present as you want to be
in their life.
Yeah.
And I respect that about you guys. I absolutely adore and respect that about you guys and other blended families or co-parenting families. It says a lot when you can say, let's skip all of the BS.
Absolutely.
This is for the kids.
Right. Set aside your hurt. Set aside your differences. Like, our kids didn't ask to come here.
Facts.
Right? You know what I mean? So why should they have to suffer because whatever we had didn't work
out.
Right.
And now why am I forcing this mom
to
have to dual hat, like play these additional roles that she's not equipped to play.
Right.
She is not a man, so she can't teach a boy to be a man.
I cannot.
However,
I cannot.
If I step in as the father, I can show him at least what I know.
Right.
It may not be everything, all inclusive, but it may be enough.
Right.
And then you won't have mom potentially filling a void.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And being so hard on that little girl because she doesn't want that little girl to be like in her shoes.
Right.
But
yeah. In doing that though, because I have to be very careful too. I have to be very careful because I never want to project, and I say this to other women, you never want to project what you've been through on your kids. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to say, oh,
that's a slippery slope too.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, I want to teach you what's out there, but I don't want to put it in a perspective where you're just like, oh, damn.
I don't want to rob you of your innocence.
Absolutely. I want you to go out and experience. Like, I don't want you to go into it already with preconceived notions like
that's going to happen to you.
Yeah, it's not happening. No, I don't want that. So you're right. It's a very slippery slope. So that's being a mother of just girls. Mm-hmm. Like, so I can't imagine being a mother of sons.
Of boys.
Yeah.
It's so you said something and I thought, what could we do? So if we were taking everything that we talked about, what are some things that we could do as a community to help said mom or to help said dad with raising these children?
Well, I mean, it has to be that particular parent has to be open to receiving the help for one. Mm-hmm,
sometimes they don't want it.
Sometimes they don't want it. Sometimes they
think,
you can't
tell them what to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm of that nature just a little bit because I only want my kids to have certain influences, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm, I'm very particular about who my kids are around. So if I feel like you can contribute something positive to them,
then you do it.
Fine, go ahead, speak. No problem. But on the other hand, I'm like, nah, they're mine. I don't
There is something beautiful about that. But there's also something that's very powerful about being a child. They have a innate sense about them that we don't quite give them credit for. And sometimes children can tell a person's intention before an adult.
Absolutely, but they're also very impressionable.
Sure. But I mean, with that, we didn't always get the best advice from the village because we were all raised by the village growing up. We didn't always get the best advice, but it gave us all of these different perspectives to at least marinate on.
Yeah.
And what we chose to do after was probably more in line with what our caregiver aligned us for, but at least we had all of these options to think about.
Yeah.
And I feel like we rob our children of those additional options because we're so adamant on them only knowing our own.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
No, I don't want them to know this. They need to be away from that. They can't hear that. Why? Let them be exposed to that, because eventually they're going to have to make a decision on their own.
That's true. Like people who don't allow their kids to hear curse words or whatever in movies or see different things on TV.
Right.
You're right.
They're going to be quiet when because they went to sleep. No, let them hear us laughing. Because they're going to need to sleep through it one day. They're going to be that old person like, can y'all be quiet? I'm sensitive. No, ain't nobody got time for that. Teach them early to be adaptive. Teach them early to be social. Teach them early to be able to coexist. You can give them all of the education that you desire. Right. But if you don't give them self-worth and self-esteem and social skills, they're still a failure. Yeah. They can have all of the A's and academic honors that they want, but if they don't get that, and learn how to adapt in a family, learn how to forgive, learn how to have a conversation, they fail. Right. You know what I mean? So as a village, I feel like we could do so much better with helping each other. Stand in the gap, help single mama raise son, help single daddy raise daughters, help our friends see different perspectives. You know what I mean? There's a way to do it. I just don't know how because you just don't want to ever infringe upon another person's title, you know, for instance, you know what I mean? Like I can see my girlfriend who has a son, and because I have kids, I can't tell her, oh, well, if I were you, you know, I would do this with him. No. I'm because that's when Mama Bear in me comes out. Like, you're not going to tell me how to raise my kids. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can give me your opinion. Yeah. And they should figure out a different way to do it. Right. I think you said it, like, there's a way to do it where it's effective. Right. Yeah. That's a good question. So how do we do it? How do we do it? Should we ask the audience? Ask the people. How do we do it? How do we do it? How do we do it? How do we help our single parents raise their children? How do we have the conversation where it doesn't feel like we are imposing our own views onto someone else, but we just want to offer a perspective. Right. A different perspective. Her perspective. That's it, folks. Yeah. Let us know what you think. Hey y'all, if you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share our channel. And if you want to hear our perspective on any particular topic, just send us an email or leave us a comment below.